The Canucks have fired Willie Desjardins. Let's talk about it, hopefully in a one take. How's it going, guys? Miroki here, and holy smokes, was that fast. Not even 24 hours after the regular season has ended, the Canucks fired their head coach, Willie Desjardins, which makes me think that this has probably been decided way before, weeks, maybe even a month before the season has ended. I mean, the writing was on the wall. The Canucks were not playing to an acceptable level, if I'm being honest. Just at most nights in the last month, little stretch of the season, the Canucks were just not motivated to get up for games. Even with Goldobin and Besser and the young guys being injected into a lineup to make it a little bit more youthful, it didn't really seem like the Canucks were playing, and it's not like Willie's deployment was that great either. There's a lot of stuff that I want to talk about in this video. It's not just going to be a Willie bashing video. I think there's a larger issue here, but let's how do we even want to start this? Like, there's so much to talk about. Let's start off with Willie's deployment. Super questionable. I mean, you have the Sedin twins, who are your best players on the team going into the year. You tried out, well, Hansen was on the line for a bit. That works out, of course. Great from last year. Goes through, doesn't really give Eriksson a chance on that line, and then somehow thinks, let's put a defensively minded winger on that line and I'll try to have my own new Burrows. And in that he tries out Michael Chaput and Jayson Megna, both nowhere near close to being like Alex Burrows was when the Canucks were in 2008-2009. So that pretty much nullifies the Sedin twins, who unfortunately can't carry a line anymore, which, I mean, is really sad. That, I mean, I remember back in the day when they could carry Taylor Pyatt, for God's sakes, but they actually now need a winger to help move the puck towards the net instead of Michael Chaput and Jayson Megna, who they aren't possession drivers. I mean, like, yeah, Jayson Megna's fast, he's probably okay defensively. It just sucked all of the offense out of the Sedin twins, and that was really rough to see. And I mean, Willie was also just stubborn. He kept going back to putting on Chaput or Megna with the Sedin twins. He kept taking Goldobin off that line whenever Goldobin would score a goal. I mean, the past two games where Goldobin scored a goal, he's pretty much automatically been benched right after that point. I don't understand how that happens. That's not how you reward someone for scoring a goal. You give them more ice time if they're playing well that night. So yeah, deployment, and I mean, it's not just been this year. Even when he made the playoffs in his first year and we played the Calgary Flames, he just got out-coached by Bob Hartley. Bob Hartley! He got out-coached by... Is he even in the NHL anymore? Like, he would just keep rolling 1, 2, 3, 4, the 4 lines over and over again, equal ice time, and when you're down a goal in the playoffs, you put on your, you start making your bench shorter. You start only playing 3 lines, and maybe even only 2 lines and a couple extra forwards. You don't keep rolling out your 4th line in crucial minutes like that, unless you're like the Washington Capitals or someone who's in a crazy deep team, which the Canucks are not are. But yeah, I don't want to get too much into, like, Willie had his faults. He was stubborn. To put it that way, he was stubborn. I mean, I think after some post-game interviews, he was asked, hey, if you could do things differently, would you still have Megna on this Sedin line? And he went, no, if I could take it back, I wouldn't do it, but also I think it was the right move at the time, and I still stand by that decision. And to me, that's just fundamentally wrong if you think Megna should be on Sedin line and you can somehow justify that. My camera battery's gonna run out, so I'll be right back. Getting back to Willie, we gotta thank him at least for developing Bo Horvat into the player that he is today. If we could take away anything from the 3 years that Willie's been here, it has to be his pride and joy that Bo Horvat is the player that he is today. And we owe a lot of that to Willie D. Beginning of this year, Bo Horvat was probably your best player in the last stretch of last year's season. And on opening day, he puts him on the 4th line, which shocked a lot of people. Probably even Bo Horvat, but I think somehow that was the right call to put Bo Horvat on the fourth line because it made him hungrier to be an even better player, and it worked out. We also have to thank him for Sven Baertschi, who he was tough on him at times, but he also gave him a lot of leash when Baertschi wasn't producing, like in the first stretch of the season when him and Horvat were still trying to figure stuff out. He didn't hurt his confidence, is what I'm trying to say. And then, I mean, there was still that questionable scratch after that Carolina game, was it? Was it the Carolina game? I don't really remember, but then the next night, Baertschi bounces back and scores like 3 points, 4 points, so I mean, I guess something worked there too. So yeah, we gotta thank Willie for at least Bo Horvat and Sven Baertschi's development. Willie's really just a scapegoat. Like, this firing, if anything, is to help with exit interviews, to say to the team, the players, the Steen twins, that, you know what, change isn't going to be coming. We're now more committed to rebuilding this the right way, and you're selling that to fans as well. I mean, I'm pretty sure most fans in Vancouver were calling for Willie's head by the end of the season, and by them doing this right away, before the draft, before the exit interviews, this is what they can talk about in the season-ending press conference. It's just a way to sell to the fans that change is coming, which the fans want, but I don't think it's enough change, which I feel like is really all that's going to change. I don't think the front office is going to change that much. I don't think Trevor Linden is going to be dismissed, and in my opinion, it really just starts from the top down in this organization, and the fact that we still have Trevor Linden, who is in his third year, still, I feel like, doesn't really, is still pretty green. Benning's gotten a lot better. He has, but, I mean, Benning and Linden both thought that this team that had 69 points this year, they thought this team would make the playoffs, or would be contending for a playoff spot. And to be contending for a playoff spot, well, what? You would have needed like at least 90 points this year. We got 69. Nice. But memes aside, I don't want two guys that thought that this roster at the beginning of the year would be a playoff team running this organization. So I still think Linden and Benning have to go, or maybe they bring in like an advisor, someone older. I know, didn't Dale Talon just get rehired by the Florida Panthers, but someone like a Lou Lamoriello, or someone who has a bit more experience, can not take over the team, but at least someone that another opinion. And the other thing I don't like about Benning is that it seems like he's hired a group of people around him that have the same views as he does, like Wiesbrod and people like that. John Wiesbrod, the assistant general manager, and they fired Lawrence Goodman because of it. And I feel like that's not the right way to do things. If you're a GM, I'd want to have as many differing opinions as possible, and then you sift through the ones and you figure out what the best opinion is at that time. And when you only have one opinion, sure, you're cohesive, but if it's the wrong direction, you're up shit's creek. Which I kind of feel like is what's happening here, but yeah, so let's talk about who the Canucks could hire in replace of Willie Desjardins. And I mean, the fact that this firing happened so soon kind of makes me think that they already have someone in mind, or that there's competition for the guy that they have in mind, and they got to get him done fast, which is why I don't think it'll be Travis Green. I mean, it still could be Travis Green, but I'm saying if their first choice is Travis Green, they probably don't have to fire Willie as fast as they did. A lot of people are saying Lindy Ruff, which I'm not really sure if I'd want Lindy Ruff. Honestly, I would love to just wait out and see what happens with Daryl Sutter with the LA Kings, because it seems like either him or Dean Lombardi are going to go. And I mean, if Dean Lombardi goes, I'll take a Dean Lombardi over Jim Benning too. So, I mean, the Canucks should not be rushing this decision. They should be, unless the guy that they really, really want is getting a bunch of offers, and then, yeah, maybe got to pull a trigger. But this is the head coach we're talking about. Take your time. Find a coach that understands that the Canucks are going to go through some changes. We're probably not going to be good again next year. And please, for the love of God, do not sign like another Louis Eriksson in free agency. But anyways, that's going to do it for me for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did, please leave a like. It really helps me out knowing if I'm doing stuff right or wrong. And I mean, leave me a comment down below who you think the Canucks should hire as their next head coach. And I mean, knowing the Canucks luck, Willie Desjardins is probably going to get hired by the Dallas Stars and they're going to win a Stanley Cup.